served our country and fell serving our country. I want to thank Comic Indie, and I've got all my people down here who wants to go by with their phone at any point after the panel and walk by the table and just do a drive-by with your camera. These are all my friends and people that support me. There's some stores over here that I'm in. At Earth Planet, Games and Comics, Nan's Games and Comics, Titan Comics, and Dial-S, the Space Cadets, Killer Kaiju inside of the Game Preserve in Spring, Texas. These are the stores that still have my comic. This is my Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Hate social media, but if you are not on social media and you're an artist, you're at a deficit. You're behind. You need to catch up and get on social media, whether you like it or not. I will be attending Comic Indie Con 2018 later on this year in my birth month, November. Be sure to check that out. These are my folks, Shark City Ozark. Animation Resources are the friends I made last year in Los Angeles that love my comic. This is one of my clients turned friends, Busy Bee, in Dallas, Texas. Check out Nathan McCree. He did the music for Tomb Raider, the original music, and he re-released it. Scary Dad, check out their podcast and their Haunted Halloween show later this year. I'll probably be attending that too. My friend Sarpy's, and he is a composer, producer, and we're working to make this single, or maybe an album, I don't know, called Default State, so check that out later. This is called Comic Relief. Thank you for attending. This is why people still make comics in an oversaturated market. We all know it's really hard. You're competing for everyone's attention out there. It's insane trying to get it out there. I've heard people doing Kickstarters and funding things successfully that way. I've not had a success, but I also, the only Kickstarter I ever did was several years ago before I really had my foot in the door, so to speak, of the industry, before I made all the friends that I've made in the last year and a half, so I really should try that again. There are lots of resources online for that. I've heard that Indiegogo is better in some ways, so you really have to weigh the variables and see what works best for you. Do your research, that never hurts. Don't get into comics for the money. That is something you should not do. Get into comics because you love visual storytelling and you want to broaden your horizons and meet amazing people, which is exactly what I did this last year and a half. I've been putting my work out there. This is my comic, Mr. Guy. It is multifarious and ambiguous, which is a great way of saying it does not fit into the mainstream. And the mainstream and fitting into it are not what I'm concerned about. Putting as much work as you're able to, don't go too far out of your way, because there are always those chance encounters, those chance happenings, the people you run into, the connections you'll make. Just get the work out there in every way you can, but don't run out of money doing it. Just, hopped on the last minute opportunities like AFM, the American Film Market. Come on in. Free comics. How's it going? Thanks for coming. Good one too.
No problem.
There you go. Oh, wow. So that's it. Now you have something to flip through, so when I get really boring and long-winded and redundant, just tune me out. Great, that's it. You can all go home. No, it's not that easy. Sorry. No, the largest factor for me would be the people. I have met so many amazing people because of this comic. Getting it off my hard drive and out into the world has been phenomenal. I mean, it's been great. My favorite place in the world is probably up in a tree or on a bike trail, but when you actually step out of your comfort zone and you go and you do these things and you meet these people and you go to these places, it really opens doors. The very largest portion of the people that I keep up with today are because of this comic. It is a direct result of me putting my work out there in these various ways. If you're in it, again, just for the money, good luck. 1% make it and get published on average, and I'm not that 1%. And this, in fact, is just one reason why I am so sorry. Sorry, Little Sharky, thank you. You look like you have a question.
Where are you from?
Oh my God, my mom originally? No. Good question, actually. I am, just picture my life, like right here, like there's a pinball machine, and you do whatever. That's me, that's my life.
What inspired you to make comics?
Great question. So, lots of inspirations. I believe in multiple intelligences and I believe in multiple types of creativity. You've got people that are artistic with their writing. You've got people that are artistic. What would you say your medium is? Yeah, like do you like to Do you like to collect things? Do you like to draw things? Do you like to just write poetry? Do you like, you know?
I like to maybe just sort of scribble scratch drawings.
There are some fantastic art, and I wish people that scribble and it looks amazing because of the composition, or just because this is what brings me to my next point. You take what inspires you. For me, it was just, I guess, you know, when I was 4 years old, I don't know what the heck I was thinking. Really, that's when I came up with this character. And his story was always about the same, but it just kind of evolved. I started working on it really when I was in my teenage years and kept going with it. And then really started finalizing it in my 20s and then putting it out when I was about 25. And I waited too long. There are great films that I grew up with. Jurassic Park was my first film ever. Saw it in theaters with my parents when I was like too young. It's tainted from that point on. So anyway, yeah, love film, and it's just amazing what inspires you. Get used to constant rejection. Get used to constant rejection, and not just because you're me. I can't snap very well from anybody. Okay, it comes down to this: can you whistle? Can you snap? Or can you do both? Because I can only whistle. Show off. Who here has seen Avatar: The Last Airbender series? Nice, thank you. So, where in order to unlock the final chakra, he has to let go of all he loves. Remember that episode? Yeah, I've had that moment. There came a day when I just stopped caring how far this went or where it took me, and it was very, very liberating. Sometimes in order to save your world, we all have our own world. You have to let go of it. Do whatever you can to get it out there, your work, and then not care what happens to it. Because if it stays on your hard drive, it's not helping anybody. Your story out there, you never know who it will affect, positively or negatively, and I should hope that always it would affect people positively, but you know, that's the other part of it. You never had control. How can you lose what you don't have? You put things out there, you don't have control over what happens to them, and it could be good or it could be bad, but it's all part of that great big experience. Someone might try to steal your work, others may make fun of it. A lot of people will love it. Rest assured, you will find your audience. If you put your work out there is an audience for it. There always is an audience. It will take you longer to find it if you're more niche. And yes, that's how you say that word, niche. Let's say it all together, niche. No, seriously. If you get it out there, you will find people. They will come to you. They will flock to you. Get out there, make yourself some opportunities, because they ain't all going to be dropped on your lap. You got to go out there and get them. So yeah, no matter what, at the end of the day, if you're sharing your vision, it's not inside of you anymore. People are seeing it, and that's powerful. When you start sharing it with the world, that used to be in my head, and you're holding it in your hand right now. That's cool, right? It could be you, man. There's so many print-on-demand companies out there now. Offset is less expensive. There are two types of printing when you're getting into comic books. You're going to learn a lot more than you bargained for today. There's offset printing, which is traditional. There's digital printing, which is newer. These are digitally printed by Kablam in Orlando, of my birth state, Florida. Does anybody in this room want to create something like this, or something better than You're in the right situation, buddy. Very good. Got the right dad for the job. So yes, and you will continue to be nurtured, and that's a great outlook. Be around the people that will inspire you to create. Don't be around the Debbie Downers that are going to drag you down. This kind of stuff gets you down. You will have your bad days, you will have your good days when it comes to promoting your work and putting it out there. But as long as it's all mind over matter, it's your mind realm. Keep it in good shape. Don't focus on the negative, focus on the positive. But for gosh sakes, be realistic. You know, know when to quit, know when to walk away. That's the hardest thing I ever had to do in my entire life, is to know when to walk away. I had to kind of walk away from this for a little while. Just like, you know what? My budget for the comics ran out. I need to focus on strategically regrouping and rebuilding my life and figuring out what to do next. Why did I really do this? Why am I really here? Why are any of us here? Just don't ask yourself too many questions. Take it a step at a time. You can't answer everything. Rome was not built in a day. But give up. Sometimes it's okay to give up. Get off the horse. Go get you a drink of water. go throw some knives at the nearest oak tree. Go do really soft bark, something that's starting to decompose, and just like knives will just like sink right. Make sure you wear goggles, be safe, make sure nobody's over there. But it's great. I encourage everyone to take on a martial art because it's good for you, your mind, and your body, your confidence. You can instruct other people how to defend themselves. It's a dangerous world and you can't bring weapons with you everywhere. So you make yourself the weapon. But you always get back up on the horse. I've said so many times, I give up when it comes to people, when it comes to this, when it comes to that over there. You have to give yourself that I am in control now, I am saying that I am done and I give up. And it maybe gives you that sort of feeling of, yes, that positive energy. You're just like, I need to wait for this to come back. I need to strategically regroup. I give up, but then as long as you go back, you're fine. People are like, never give up. And I'm like, no, no, no. Never underestimate the power of giving up. Because when you give up and then you realize, what did I just walk away from? It makes you want to go back that much harder with that much more fierceness and just get her done. So yeah, if I can share some advice, it's not just comic book advice, it's hopefully life advice, and it hopefully makes sense. Again, it's that whole, it's, you know, when you put work out there, it's not inside your head anymore. People are seeing it, and that's powerful. It changes you, it changes other people. It becomes a tangible thing that has a life of its own because it's not just alive in your own mind anymore. It's in others' minds, and everybody has a different imagination. We live in a perception-based world, and what is one thing to one person is not that same thing to another person. So you never know. That's another factor that even more greatly messes with your variables whenever you put work out there. How is somebody else going to interpret this? Because it makes sense to me, but does it make sense to everybody else? How is it going to affect other people? Try to get the work out into smaller circles. Disconnected circles if you can. Just get feedback from a lot of different people, from a lot of different age groups, from a lot of different walks of life, and just get as much feedback as you can. Just kind of get a good, just a litmus test for what might need to be worked on, what you might need to step back from. If you're really, is this really a good representation of my vision, or is it something I need to go back and rework a little longer? These are good questions to ask yourself. Just so you can be sure that you are the most well-received when you do get the work out there and it's out there. So like, you never know, people think different things about your work. You'll find the people that love it, the people that hate it, and they might think differently of it than you do, and you just can't let that bother you. So, some more advice. Side note, letting people into your own world is the only way to make it bigger. Get your work out there. It may take you places. It took me all up and down the United States. It made me amazingly talented friends in all kinds of industries that, you know, actually think I'm cool and keep up with me. So, you guys have any questions for me? Is social media helping me get my comic out? Yes, very good question. Mentioned at the beginning of this shindig here that I hate social media. Social media is over there, and I was like, get off my lawn. But no, it's just like, it's so much to keep up with, and so, oh, this platform lets you do this, and this platform doesn't let you do that, and this platform has this limitation, and this one makes you have to refresh this many times. It's like, it's aggravating to keep up with it. A friend of mine, Dan Votto, former publisher, SLG Publishing, he runs an art and a music venue called the SLG Art Boutique in San Jose, California. He showed me his setup. He's got something called Hootsuite, and it manages all your social media. I can do all my own stunts right now, so to speak. I can do all my own posts when, you know, things start picking up and escalating and I have more work to do and less time on social media. Hootsuite is a fantastic way to synchronize all of the different social media platforms like Twitter, Facebook. You make one post and Hootsuite posts it in the appropriate formats based on what the website specifications are. So that's kind of a head start. Kind of gives you kind of a shortcut, I guess. But yeah, social media is worth keeping up with. It is a very good idea. Again, if you are an artist and you do not have social media accounts, you are probably in the negative, and you're going to have to do a lot more word of mouth to make up for the fact. It's another one of those things. You start putting something out there, you never know where it's going to go. You never know where it's going to go. You could put this work on your Facebook homepage and 3 people see it because you only have like a couple friends. But then what if somebody comes along and you've got your profile set to public, and they hit, whoa, I just love the art, I love the color. I get a lot of compliments on the color for this stuff. I just love the color, and they repost it. And by the time you know it, a whole bunch of other people are looking at it. You don't know where these things go. You don't know what can and can't be viral. There's no set pattern. So you just you put it out there on all channels. That's why they have multiple types, I guess, of social media. Does anybody else have an answer for why there have to be so many different channels? Why Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, and they all do different things. So, what are your guys' favorites?
Probably Instagram.
Instagram. I was losing a lot of business till I got on Instagram. Instagram is fantastic, and I'm continuing to learn it, and it's great because it has these things that the kids call hashtags. I call it the pound sign, but it's tomato. That's all the same thing. But those hashtags, man, that's where it's at. You start tagging your stuff, and it shows up in people's lists that you've never even heard of before, and they've never heard of you, but they like your thing now. You're like, cool. It's a great tool.
Is this your first project you published?
Yes, sir, it is. Yeah. Prior to that, I'd only done small things, like, I published some music. I did this. This is kind of like the second iteration of a first kind of horribly failed attempt at putting my music out in 2015. It was in a couple of CD stores. That was cool. I made a few sales that way. But this is my next big attempt at, okay, let's take what worked for the first album and put it in the second one. And it's yes, volume 1, but it's like the first one never existed. The first one had the same cover, but it was called It Is Rife with Ambiguity, number 1. The name was too big and scary. It is rife with ambiguity. What a name. It was very fitting for the subject matter and my chaotic mind, but does it sell? No, it's not marketable. So Sharky has done very well for me. That's my nickname. Sorry, Little Sharky is the name of my website and my brand that I established in 2010. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. So just kind of modulate. There is no one solution for anything. It might be the wrong place, the wrong time, the wrong thing now, but if you keep modulating those variables, you never know where something's going to land. No, the music is fun to listen to. I've got a lot of great compliments on it. Hundreds of people have heard it, they love it, but it lacks the reach that I'm looking for. That's the tricky part. It's just you're kind of in a crowd of people trying to scream to compete for everyone's attention. And that is a very difficult place to be in, but you have to, that's the part I mentioned earlier about letting go and not caring what happens. If you're too emotionally invested in something, you're gonna burn out. I'm a recovering burnout victim, so. But I have a number of hobbies. Help me out here, people. I don't know everything. Just because I'm up here on a stage with a fancy microphone does not mean I know crap, so, yes sir. Serial killing? Not advisable, but it is a hobby to some people. I cannot argue with this. If something isn't working for you, it may be time for a distraction. Take on a martial art, take on a new hobby, take on stamp collecting, for God's sake. Anything. Well, I collect Godzilla and all these little action figures or whatever. Just casually. I don't I've got to have it in mint condition in the box. I used to collect Zen action figures that way, and then I sold them all. I'm just like, money. You hang on to those, and they go up in value, and that's a thing. So that was a hobby for a while. It's amazing what you pick up and you put down. Just try new things, broaden your horizons, make your world bigger. If ever you feel like you are trapped where you are, that people don't appreciate you, that's when you need to start getting you a sledgehammer and knocking some walls down, man. Get out there and start tearing crap up. You see where I'm coming from. The more effort you put out in different directions and different channels to keep yourself from wearing out, because the same thing over and over again really gets to me. Does it get to you guys? Is it just you're being underutilized? Do whatever you can to break out of that. Back to the subject of the social media thing. If that is, one platform isn't working for you, try another one. Or if you feel like, okay, well, I seem to be having some good response with this, but not enough outreach. They've got ad systems now where you can pay for ads. like Facebook ads and Twitter ads. LinkedIn even has ads. Like, okay, how full of yourself are you? But whatever. I mean, I've had very little success doing anything with Facebook ads. I've not tried Twitter ads, can't speak for it. It's like when you vote, you can complain all you want. If you didn't vote, nobody wants to hear from you. But it's the same thing. If you've tried something and you can speak for it, great. I have not tried Twitter ads. I can't speak for Twitter ads. Tried Facebook ads, I can say they suck. They don't work. Not for me anyway. I tried several times over a course of years, and Facebook ads really did very little for me. Maybe we're talking a budget of, to put it tangibly, you're looking at maybe a budget of $90 in some cases to get like 1 to 3 likes on something, because the rest of it is just somebody scrolling down their page to get to the next recipe or cute dog video, and they just scroll past your thing you spent money on, and you're just like, no, just focus on quality content, and sometimes not quality. Okay, so that brings me to this discussion about my YouTube channel. I hate YouTube. Oh my God, something else Sharky hates. No, I don't hate everything. I would like to like more things. But no, it's just YouTube. It's kind of exasperating how you get some people's videos and you're just like, I'm sorry, why do you have 1 million subscribers and you're driving a Tesla and I am barely making ends meet and I just made a music video all by myself? I don't understand. You're thinking too much, you're doing it wrong, you're overthinking it. Just don't overthink it. Put content out regularly. It doesn't matter how good it is or how crappy it is. That doesn't matter at all. As long as you post something regularly, you start getting an audience much faster. I've had this YouTube channel for gosh knows how long. I'm gonna start doing this awful, horrible new weekly show called The Sorry Little Show, and it's gonna be so sorry, you don't even know. 1 week I might be storm chasing, because I love storm chasing. It inspired what is going to be the 3rd issue of my comic. It starts out, so you got the first book, and so the misadventures begin. That's issue 1. Issue 2 is, in which said misadventures continue after being so rudely interrupted. The 3rd issue is going to be called, in which he finds that his head is in the clouds and other such dire predicaments. So I will pass this around for show and tell. Woo! Okay, check it out. It's laminated. You won't hurt it. I should like to see you try. He wakes up and he's like, okay, I'm a cloud. What is he gonna do with that situation? Sometimes you wake up and you're a cloud, and there's nothing you can do about it. Well, what can you do? You change your attitude. What does he do? He turns himself into a superstorm, and he storms on the whole planet and kills all life on that planet. That's what But it's a whole planet of toaster people, so who cares? You know, look out for the 3rd dadgum issue because it's coming, and I don't know when it's coming because I have no set schedule and I have no set budget. I'm my own publisher. God help me. Hey, good to see you. Join us. Get in here. You guys, do you have a copy of my comic already? I thought so. Just making sure.
Absolutely.
I was gonna say, just making sure.
How did you get a name like Sharky?
Oh, good question. Very good question. My folks, Shark City Ozark, they make the shark from Jaws. It actually many collectors that worked on the shark, like Joe Alves and Cal Accord. I call him Uncle Cal. Cal, he's our buddy. He's awesome. My dad grew up that was his favorite movie, Jaws. And we used to go fishing, and that's kind of where the inspiration came from. I was predisposition, I guess, an environmental factor, if you will. I was always surrounded by sharks and cool stuff like classic films, and I grew up knowing who Phil Tippett was, and Ray Harryhausen and a Beast from 20,000 Fathoms. Side note, watch the classics. It's a great inspiration. How can you build a future if you don't know your past? Those who fail history are doomed to repeat it. Go back to the classics. Black and white films. Personally, I loved stuff while growing up, like the older movies, like the original Thing from black and white time. The original Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I like the 70s remake with Leonard Nimoy and Jeff Goldblum in it too, but just watch stuff from before you were born. It'll give you great insight. It'll also help you not to make something that's already been done. I mean, we've seen the wheel reinvented 50 million times by now, but you'll give yourself a competitive edge if you don't do the same exact thing that somebody else did. This would be the second issue. I enjoy it much more than the first one. Originally, I tried to release these simultaneously, the first and second issue, as a small graphic novel. It was in excess of 70-something pages, whereas last I checked, the minimum requirement of a graphic novel is about 70 pages, is it not? Does anybody else know?
Yeah, 2 or 3 books.
Yeah, so, yeah, that's about right. And plus, I didn't just have the first 2, I had a lot of other extra material, you know, and I was going to try to make a go of it. People were like, no, it's too big, it scares me. I was like, okay. Okay, boss. When I was first starting to get these printed, I did 25 magazine-style printings. An issue, like a run of 25. I started leaving it at different comic book stores and saying, hey, do you folks want to take this work and put it in your store? And at one point, I was in about 25 different comic book stores. That was cool. Since then, I have fallen off of that, and shame on me, but I needed a break. So who knows, maybe I'll get back into the comic book stores later this year. You'd be amazed. People think, I had somebody ask me recently, what can you do to get me into the comic book stores down there? And I'm just like, be yourself. That's all I did. It worked for me. Had a lot going against me too, because I'm kind of hyper. It's like, ah! You know, they're just like, you need to switch to decaf, and I'm like, you need to switch to decaf. So, but anyway, I'm just saying, like, I don't have any special advantage. I just was nice to people, and I had a good product, and I asked if I could put it in stores, and people said yes, and I was like, yeah. Go me. So there was no special, you know, I don't have any special connections or anything. I mean, you'll get the connections as time goes on, don't get me wrong. I mean, good connections come later on, but you gotta put your work out there first. You can come on in, it's not too late. You can get a free comic. I don't judge. You'll get yours after the show, sir. How much the heck time do I have left? We are about out of time. Anybody want to talk about favorite music? Music can be inspiring. Don't put something on that's too distracting. Even classical can be a little distracting. I listen to a lot of video game and film soundtracks, as long as it's not too distracting and it's something I'm very familiar with. Just have stuff running in the background. Like, I will watch some animated shows that I've seen a million times, like the ones I mentioned earlier. Have those playing in the background for some inspiration, sometimes just on low volume, because I've already watched it and I'm already familiar with it. It's not going to be a distraction to me. Scientifically proven fact, very, very out of left field, the human mind cannot multitask, not true multitasking in the true sense of the word. We are able to rapidly prioritize and cycle between priorities, but we cannot literally multitask. So don't distract the snot out of yourself. That is all. Anybody else have any last words? There's a lot of stuff we covered. I hope it was practical and useful, and you get a free comic.
Thanks.
Yes, you're very welcome. There's no minimum. I did not specify a minimum amount of time you had to sit in the audience to be eligible. Good night, everybody. Even though